Hey, Just As We Are listeners, you guys are in for such a treat with this episode. I sat down with Alissa Circle, the author of the well-known Orange County-based creative life and style blog, Diary of an Addict, where she discusses balancing family, travel, and faith. She also is the founder of Target Made Me Do It. You guys need to go check her out on Instagram. In 2010, Alissa began partnering with brands to create content on her blog for her audience, and she just immediately noticed the language barrier between marketers and influencers. And she realized she could be a translator between those influencers like herself and those brands. So in 2012, she launched Pollinate Media Group, where Pollinate connects the industry-leading brands with top digital influencers, helping brands achieve their goals by producing successful social marketing campaigns. Not only that, she's a wife and she's a mother, and she is just an absolute amazing soul. You guys go check her out on Instagram at Alissa Circle. This episode is not to miss. Welcome to the Just As We Are podcast. I'm Katrina Lelly, certified life coach, aspiring author, lover of people, mama in recovery, and student of life. Each week, I will bring you love, inspiration, the real life stuff people are afraid to talk about, and guests who are willing to shine their light for you. I give you self-care practices and mindset tips to help you shatter the negative stories you tell yourself. Now is the time to step into the beautiful, loved, whole woman you already are. Let's walk this journey together. Welcome back to the Just As We Are podcast. I'm your host, Katrina Lelly, and you guys, I have a really special guest with us here today. I am incredibly just overjoyed that she is here. We met at the Mommy Millionaire Live event. She actually was one of the trainers on stage, and she had such a powerful story, and she has so much good information for mamas out there and women who are building their own businesses. And really, she is about uplifting the community. And when we were chatting last week about what she does and how she is really about the people on her team and being a team mentality, it was so refreshing and good to hear. So Alissa, thank you so much for being here with me this morning and coming on and sharing your story and putting yourself out there so other women can, hear somebody else and come in and know that they're not alone in whatever it is they're going through. That is just, there's so much power in our stories. And that's why I bring women on here like you to share those stories. So, hopefully it just reaches one individual or another.
I love that. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. It was so great meeting you at the conference and just all of the women at the conference. I just came away so full and encouraged and just, I don't know, I feel like I just felt like I could hug every person in the room, and it's just been really great to watch everybody just thrive in their space since the conference. It's been really fun. So thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. It's just been fun to continue to stay connected to the women and lift each other up and support one another. And, knowing and having people that you can go to who are doing things that you want to do is so valuable. I can imagine there are people out there who are like, I have this really great idea, or I'm just starting my business, kind of like me. And, how do I do it? What do I do? And going to events like that gives us the opportunity to collaborate, share, be heart to heart, and know that we all go through something every day on a daily basis. Like no matter where you're at in your chapter, you can still have those thoughts that come in like, who am I to do this? What am I doing? Those type of things. Do those still come up for you?
Absolutely. I was actually just thinking while you were talking that for me being at the conference, yes, I'm not in that beginner stage anymore. But for me, I was just really encouraged as had been brainstorming in kind of over the summer of what's next for everything that I'm doing, and what does that look like? And so it's just inspiring to be in a room full of women who are excited about where they're at, where they're starting up, where they're leveling up. And so for me, the level up was really my takeaway. But that's I mean, I feel like every time you come up with a new idea, you're almost like starting over, right? Because you're like, I've got to create it, I've got to think it through, I've got to launch it, I'm hoping people will want to be a part of it. So
yeah, absolutely. I totally hear you on that. It's new territory anytime a new idea comes up, and you really just kind of get to look at it like, okay, where's this idea going to go? What's the bigger vision? I have always had a ton of different ideas, and I think we can get lost in that too. Mm-hmm. So I remember hearing, I think somebody even shared this last weekend, just, write down your ideas, just write them down, and start with one. Okay, where can you do from there? Not that you can't have other ones come in later, but okay, start with that one, focus on it, see what happens with that, and build that, and then, everything else can come in together.
Right. And I think one of the important things when you're starting something is it's great to brain dump all of your ideas into one space and then see how they could flow together. So it's like if I put all my ideas down, I'm like, well, I'm going to launch this first. And then by doing this, I'm going to collect this group of followers, or I'm going to get these people to sign up for my email list. And then from there, you're like, well, then I could offer them this, or I could offer them this. And when I say offer, it's not necessarily trying to sell them something, but it could just be an offering of advice. It could be an offering of encouragement, or it could be business advice, depending on what you are trying to accomplish. But brain dumping all of your ideas is awesome, but it's like starting with one and seeing how they can all go together, and whatever doesn't go together, maybe put it aside for later. When we were starting Pollinate, it was like there were so many things in the social media influencer space that we could have done, but it was like, do we want to go deep or do we want to go wide? Do I want to try and like really hone in and be really good and successful on this thing? Or do I want to offer all of these different things, but maybe we don't do it all 100%, but we offer it? And for us, we really just felt like, yes, we could go and do all of the things, and I could hire all of the people to do all of those things. But realistically, at the end of the day, it was more important to me to have ongoing clients that were working with me regularly because they were happy with the successful campaigns that we were building for them, than it was to just have almost like an octopus and have my hands in everything. And I think that's part of the reason why our company has been so successful. But on the blog side, I'm like, how can I have my hands in like lots of different
right?
things? Yeah, because blogging it takes on a different thing. So it's like you kind of have to have your hands in social media, and you want to be able to dabble into like different things. And for me, I just love empowering and encouraging women. So anything that I can do along those lines that's going to accomplish that goal for me and for other women around me, I'm like, can I put my hand on that?
I know, I so relate to that. I even, I'm not sure if you were in the room, but I got up and asked the question, like, how do I know who to focus on? Who do I help? Because I want everybody to come and listen to the podcast, because I think it could benefit everybody. I want to be able to coach everybody because, well, that's part of my inner fixer, wanting to fix other people and help them and just, oh, please. So I totally relate to, I just want hands in a little bit of everything. And who all can I help? And you really, I think quality, so honing in on that one thing and really building that. And then you can look at, okay, now I can go a little wider and get more of a reach out there. But let's just, let's back up a little bit. Just tell me a little bit about yourself, or tell our viewers. I know a little bit about you. So, and who you are, where you come from, what you do, all of that.
Well, my goodness. So my name is Alissa. You guys already know that. You can find me blogging over at diaryofanaddict.co. That's where kind of everything started. I started blogging in 2007. Oh my gosh, I'm an OG, you guys. So OG. When I got pregnant with our daughter, Caitlin. And I just really, so I grew up overseas in Southeast Asia and all over the place. And so I have family kind of everywhere. So when I got pregnant, it wasn't like, oh, I'm surrounded by my family and they're all going to watch and be invited into all the excitement of being pregnant. Like, they were all far away. And so I really started the blog as a way to be able to document being pregnant for my family. And that turned into relationships online and meeting other moms, because Kyle and I got married young. And so we didn't really have any other friends at that point that were getting married and having babies. And so I really felt alone in that space. And so being online and starting the blog and then being on Twitter, because you guys, Twitter used to be the thing. It's like Twitter was the thing because Facebook was only for college students originally to connect with one another. So if you didn't have like your college email address still active because you were a student, you couldn't be involved in it. So we were all hanging out on Twitter, and this was before Instagram launched in October of 2010, I believe. And I just remember loving connecting with other women that were in the same place as me, having babies at the same time as me. And that's really where the blog was birthed and just really started to grow as I was interacting with people. I also taught myself how to sew while I was pregnant with my daughter. And so I opened my own online shop, and I was selling baby accessories and all of that kind of stuff just to make a little bit of extra income, because even though I have a master's degree in education, I decided to stay home. Well, actually, Kyle and I decided together that I was going to stay home. I'm sure many of you know teachers don't get paid a lot. So it was basically like my whole entire salary was going to go towards a nanny, and I was going to go back to work, and it just didn't make sense. And so we decided to just go for it, and I was going to become a full-time stay-at-home mom. And so I taught myself how to sew and made some extra income, paid for diapers and fun activities and lunches and all that kind of stuff that, maybe dinner out every once in a while. So that's where we really began. And then through the blog back then, it was really the wild, wild west. And so brands were starting to realize just how influential the online space was, because the content that was being created by influencers was evergreen. So we were blogging and creating content, and we were pinning it to Pinterest and putting it on Instagram and putting it on Facebook and all of our social media. And it was a place where, unless we took it down, it lived forever. And so brands were realizing just how they could benefit from their content being on the internet, being exposed by influencers. And I had brands that began to come to me and say, like, hey, we would love to work with you. In fact, Cost Plus World Market was the first client that I ever personally worked with. From there, they asked me to build out a brand ambassador program for them, which we did. And that was really the birth of our company, Pollinate Media. And so I was like, so Kyle and I sat down and we were like, okay, if I'm making money doing this and I'm able to stay home and be a mom and be a part of MOPS and mommy play dates, and still be able to create in a space that I'm passionate about and make income doing it, then what if we could do this for more women? And so we basically took this concept of what I was already doing, and I emailed and had conversations with and went to lots of conferences and talked to a lot of my blogger friends, and were like, hey, do you want to be a part of this too? And that was really the beginning of the birth of our company, where we became this matchmaker between influencers and brands. So brands would come to us, they would want content created around products and services, and we would partner them with the right influencers that were in the right niche to really talk about those products and services. And these bloggers were looking to partner with brands, and maybe they didn't know how to get started with that. And so we became this matchmaker between the two to create campaigns that would, awesome. And it was really cool. And it was really, now I go on Pinterest every time the Super Bowl happens, and I can still see stuff that we created like 8 years ago for Cost Plus World Market, all around food and decor and whatever for throwing a great Super Bowl party. So it's really fun just to see really how evergreen it is. And so now we partner with about 5,000 male and female influencers, and we do ongoing campaigns with lots of different types of clients. And I have a team of 7 that mostly women. Kyle and I, my husband and I, do work together, which is really fun, and I love it. I didn't know that we would ever be able to do that, but I wouldn't trade it. I'm like, how many more things can we partner in? Because I love working with him, and he's got such a creative brain, and I really feed off of that because I'm more administrative. So it's a really great combination to create and execute new things. And all of the women on my team are women. They're moms, and so they have the ability to make some money, work for Pollinate, and then still be a part of everything going on in their kids' lives. And so I feel like I'm achieving the goals that we had, like both in my team and within the company.
I love that so much. And it just hit me that, so there are a lot of moms out there who are stay-at-home moms and their family struggles financially every month. Mm-hmm. And they just are like, I don't know what to do. I don't want to do my own business. I don't want to join a network marketing company. But there's people like you who have companies that are willing to, find those people and bring them on and help them and support them in that way. So there's more possibility out there than just like a network marketing company or mm-hmm. starting your own business if you don't have something that you're passionate about. Like right. There are endless opportunities out there. And how awesome is that you support those women in creating that for their own lives, because you understand the importance. Number one, like I relate to the whole, why go back to work just to pay for a nanny, and then you're missing out on there's so much around that, like it just doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. And, so being able to support moms in that way, I really love that.
Thank you. It really for us was, I felt like we had been so blessed to be able to create this for our family that I really wanted to be able to create this for more families. And that was really where it stemmed from. And so for me, I feel like you may want to be a stay-at-home mom and you may not want, like you said, to have your own business, or you may not want to join a network marketing business, and that's totally fine. But there are a lot of people doing amazing things that allow for their team to work remote. So I only have 2 team members in the Southern California area. Then I have people in Northern California and Texas and Idaho. At one point we had somebody in New Jersey. Like you just, it is possible to find those people that are looking to hire women with exceptional skills who have the ability to balance being a mom, but also wanting to have an income and do something that they're passionate about, but maybe they just don't want to start it themselves. And so I would always encourage people to look for that, because you just never know when that opportunity is going to fall in your lap, when you're going to meet that person who's like, oh, you know what? I'm just really looking for someone who can work for me and do X, Y, and Z, and it all can be done at home. Well, how incredible is that?
Right? That's amazing. I know, because I've ran into a lot of women who are those stay-at-home moms, and they're just dying for something to come in their life. And I mean, we'll just throw it out there. Not everybody's into network marketing. There's a lot of skepticism around it, which is totally okay. So go find something else mm-hmm. That you're passionate about. It doesn't have to look one certain way. And, it's possible. You're an example that you can turn just a hobby or a small idea or something that you're passionate about into this thing. It's going to take work. It's going to take time. And connecting with the women who've done it before, like attending events and finding those women online or in your area. It's absolutely possible. And I think it's just so important. A thought came back to me of that, many of those women are looking for those opportunities, and it totally plays in to our self-worth. Mm-hmm. If we're at home and we're not bringing in something financially, and there's more month than there is money, or even if there's not, even if there's not, because there's that mindset on other side. There could be plenty of money coming in, but if you're not contributing, you could still go to that place of, I need to do something.
Right. Well, and I think this is the misnomer for women, right? Because your worth doesn't go out the door just because you have children. Your worth changes because now you have this even more important job, this even more important gift that to keep humans alive, basically.
Yeah.
You are, a doctor, a mom, a counselor. You're all of the things. And that in itself, like, I think we make the mistake of thinking that when we quit our jobs, we've lost our value and we've lost our worth. But
Yes.
It's not. It's just shifted. And I think once we get into that mindset as women, that we're just shifting it, like this is like, maybe I was putting on my worth here, but like, this is where my time and energy needs to be. And once we've got our worth figured out over here as a mom, we're going to be, if it's okay to want to work outside of the home. It's okay to want to work in your home and still be a mom. It's absolutely okay to do both. But I think if you want to work from home and you're a mom, once you find worth in like what you're doing over here, you're more valuable to this person who's doing this over here that you may want to then go work for. Because they know that like your every moment of your day counts and you're making the most of it no matter what you're doing. And so I think that is where our shift in mindset really needs to happen is like, okay, I am worthy. I'm a great mom. And it's okay that I can be a great mom and still want to make a little bit of income in my home. And talk to your spouse. And if they're on board and they're supportive and they know that it's going to take a few extra hours and there's going to be a little bit more juggling in the beginning, then go out and find that job. There's so many people now that are hiring women and men who stay home.
Yeah, there are. And what you said is just so important. And I know as moms, we can definitely get lost into the motherhood stuff and put all of our focus there. And that's great. That's awesome. We have to do that for a period of time. But it doesn't have to stay there, and our worth is not tied to that. Right. Our worth comes from within. It comes from our higher power, who God. That's where our worth is. It's not tied into what we do. It's already within us. And I just urge women to really look at that and to think about that and focus on that and do the work around it. If you're not feeling worthy, if you don't see value in what you do.
Right. Well, and as much as I love social media, I do think it's a blessing and a curse, Yes. And I've talked about this a lot with my husband. It's like how much I can get wrapped up in like Instagram and like the changing of the algorithms and how that affects me in my business as I'm posting pictures of myself, which is already very narcissistic. Like, look at me, like me. I promise you I'm awesome, And I mean, I really am awesome. So please go follow me on Instagram. But all that to say, I think that we spend a lot of time like looking at other people's corners of the internet, and we play this comparison game, which really feeds into our self-worth, right? Yes. Oh, maybe I'm not as good of a mom because I don't braid my daughter's hair, or I'm not as good of a mom because I don't sew my kids' clothes, or I'm not as good of a mom because I'm not room mom, And I'm just kind of like, my value and my self-worth comes from just having a pulse of like, am I spending time with my kids? Yes, I go to every single one of their games and practices and classes, and I shut off work at a certain point, or I work mobily so that I can be there for all of that stuff, right? But I think for me the shift had to happen in my mind to where I wasn't getting up and allowing that to be the first thing, right? So we get up in the morning, we reach for our phone to look at the time. I'm totally like in quotations looking at the time, but really then we're like, oh, I have these text messages, and I should check my Instagram account and see who liked my post from last night overnight, see if there's any comments I need to respond to so I can stick with the algorithm and, oh, look at that person, look at that person, look at that person. And that's how we start our day. Or we check our email and then it just feels like we're inundated with all of this stuff, like all these promotional emails for holiday. And then you're thinking about like, oh shoot, I need to start shopping for Christmas, or I need to get my Christmas tree up, or I need to do this, or I need to do that. And for me, several months ago, I starting my day with a devotional. So it's like, I may be picking out my phone and taking it to the kitchen with me so I can keep track of the time, but I'm not paying attention to what's going on with it. And I'm taking a minute to read a devotional to center my day. And then more recently, I created a printable that is called Simplified Gratitude. And it starts your day with like an I am statement. And if you have to write I am worthy every single day for a year, then that's what you need to write, and then it walks you through like being grateful, and it walks you through your purpose and intention for the day and your top 3 things you need to get done and your prayer requests and all of those things, which is a free downloadable, by the way. So we can tell you guys later how to get it. But I feel like that has really helped to shift my day. And instead of starting the day seeing what everyone else is doing, I'm starting the day with like, what am I doing? Like, what am I giving back to the world? What am I going to be doing today for myself, for others, for God's glory? And that, I think, has made my days more productive. And so I just want to encourage women to do that, because I think we get so caught up in all of the things that don't matter. And we need to start our day with all the things that do matter. And I promise you'll feel so much more productive. And when you hop on Instagram, you're going to be like, you know what? That's great. Good for her. Her daughter braids. I love that. My daughter hates it when I brush her hair because her scalp is sensitive. So I couldn't braid her hair if I wanted to, and like just remembering that and not being upset about it, just embracing that that's okay. That's what works for us, and it works for us, and we're all happy about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely love that. And let me ask you, did you always have this mindset? What was it like for you in the beginning? And, kind of where did you notice, if you didn't, when it needed to shift for you?
So when we first started Pollinate, I feel like it was like my constant focus. I would eat, sleep, and breathe the company, and it was constantly like coming up with ideas, and I was constantly talking about it, and it just really like overtook my life. And all of the extensions of it, like how's the social media, and how's this, and how's that, and I need to hire, and I need this, and I need that, and we need to make sure that we're launching like X number of campaigns with clients every single week. And so it was just this constant like stress, like this constant anxiety. And I think part of it was like, oh, well, I just needed, like everyone says, fake it till you make it, fake it till you make it. So I'm just like, I don't want anybody to know that I'm a fraud. And so I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to just keep working, because the harder I work, the more valuable I become. The problem is that I got in that mindset for so long because I just felt like Kyle, my husband's a serial entrepreneur. He's so great at coming up with ideas and like really making them flourish. And I felt like that really wasn't my gifting or my calling. And so that was why my mentality was like, fake it till you make it, fake it till you make it. And it was kind of like, at one point, it was like, wait a minute, I do know what I'm talking about. I do have value in this space. I wouldn't be asked to speak at conferences. I wouldn't be doing all of these different things. Like our clients wouldn't continually come back and work with us if they didn't see the value in what we were doing for them. So that, along with getting myself a business coach, and it's funny because it was just emailing with her. I'd sent her an email a couple days ago, and she basically wrote me back and told me I would follow you anywhere. And I said, I love you so much. Like, I haven't worked with her in years, but I said, I just want you to know that I recently was on a podcast, and I was telling someone, like, you made such a huge impact in my life. And so I got a business coach. She was amazing. She really instilled that confidence in me. She helped me see my value, my self-worth. She pulled out of me things that I probably knew were there, but I was living my life on like anxiety and nerves instead of standing on the knowledge that I had, and just all of these other things that I mentioned before. Clients coming back and working with us, people emailing me saying, what can I do to work on your team? All I want to do is be able to work on your team. And instead of looking at all of those things as confidence builders that I was headed in the right direction, I just constantly was living in this anxiety. And so I think working with this coach really helped shift my mindset. And I mean, are there still days where I have anxiety about stuff? Sure. But for the most part, I know that God always brings the right people into our life and into our business when we need it. I've seen 8 years of evidence of it. And so even when those stressful situations come up, I just have to take a minute and just like slow down and just pray and remind myself that like God's got this, and he knows what's next, and he knows how to fulfill a need. Like, oh my gosh, I need to hire someone. Roles are shifting within my company. Boom, somebody reaches out and they're like, hey, I was just wondering if there's any positions opening within Pollinate. I really would love to do this, that, and the other. And this is my passion. And this is why I want to work for your team. And they'll list off all of the things that really are the core of our company culture. And I know in that moment, like that's God. There's like certain things I know when people email me, I'm like, okay, God, this person sees what we're about.
I love that. It's so funny how when we are in that doubt, as soon as we like let go and surrender, he drops something in front of us and it's like, all right, there's my little note that I'm going in the right direction and to keep moving forward. And he just drops little gifts to us. And that's what I have found, that he just drops little gifts that in those moments where I'm like questioning and doubt, and he'll just drop something for me. And it's like, okay, you're right. I'm being silly. This is your plan. We're going the right way. I love that. I love that. So what would you tell women who don't have the circle around them doing the kinds of things that they want to do?
What are you doing to put yourself out there? I mean, realistically, we live in a day and age where there's Facebook groups for everything, where there's get-togethers for everything. And you know what? If there isn't one, create one, because you never know who you're going to meet. So my girlfriend and I, we actually met at a monthly restaurant club that she had started in Tennessee. Our family splits time between Southern California and Franklin, Tennessee. So if any of your listeners are out there, let's do a get-together. I love it. I'm always out there. But she put together this dinner and she just invited all of these different women that she had met over the years when she started it, and told them all, invite a friend. And she picked a restaurant and everyone came together. And it's like, now you've got a room full of people, yes, that you may know firsthand, but now they're bringing their friends, right? And then they spread the word and they spread the word. And so she and her husband just recently moved this summer to California, which I'm so excited about. And we started Monthly Restaurant Club in California. And you wouldn't believe the kind of people that you bring together through that, because someone tells someone who tells someone, and they invite a friend. And so if you don't have a community around you, like, what are you doing to create one? And where are you looking for the resources around you to really do that? You can't just sit back and say like, oh, if someone would just start that so that I can benefit from it. No. What are you starting so that people can benefit from it? And then you can benefit from it as well. And so I would just encourage women, like, if you're looking for something and you don't know where to find it, there are a lot of resources around you, and why not start it so you can create it for yourself? Because you don't know what opportunities are going to come from that. And if it's a community thing, like you're looking for women to spend time with and get to know, that's a great way to do it. If you're looking for business opportunities, you've got the Chamber of Commerce for your area that does get together. So you never know where even that could lead. So there are ways to really get connected within your community if you really look for it. It could even be if you're a mom, what is it, like Stroller and Strides or something? It's like
I think
workout
so,
with
yeah.
a stroller. And I have friends who have met some incredible women that have opened doors for incredible business opportunities by being at Strollers and Strides.
And you just don't know who you will come upon or run into, or who through that person you will meet,
Mm-hmm.
It may just be one conversation away, one person away, one relationship away from something totally amazing, no matter what it is you're looking for in whatever area.
Exactly.
So
I always meet cool
love that.
people in the bathroom at coffee shops. I don't know. Like everyone's like waiting in line, or you're washing your hands and you have a conversation, and the next thing you know, bam, you have a new friend.
Yes. Yes. I that makes me think of, when I think of network marketing specifically, but when people are always like, well, how do I meet new people? Go out and say hello.
Mm-hmm.
My name is, and I totally get the anxiety around that, because that used to be me. And, how do you do that? And afraid to meet new people. And I love it now. It lights me up, and it's so much fun to meet new people, like meeting all the women there, meeting you, having conversation. And before you know it, you have way more in common. You have a new friend.
Right.
You have a new opportunity that's presented to you. It's just, there's no reason, especially this day and age, not to find something or create something with that community that you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Exactly. You just have to want to. If you want it bad enough, you'll create it if it doesn't exist.
yes. Yeah, absolutely. I so love that. So, is there anything burning on your heart that you want to share with any of the mamas or women that are listening?
Oh my goodness, how much time do we have?
Right?
I think for me, it's to remember, like, this phase of your life that you're in right now is not forever.
Yeah.
So cherish every minute of it. When they say that time goes by really fast and it slips through your fingers, it's true. I blinked and my youngest is turning 10 in 10 days. So what are you doing to facilitate and just be grateful for what is going on around you, and just cherishing those moments, soaking them up? I know it's hard to be up in the middle of the night changing diapers. I get it. But I promise you, this is just a season. And when this season is over, what I miss about changing my kids' diapers is that afterwards they would snuggle with me, like their head up in my neck, and we would rock in the rocking chair for a couple minutes, and I would pray over them. And it's like, I don't have those moments anymore, right? Now they can pretty much put themselves to bed. And so those little moments that you get to be with them, or those extra minutes that you get to talk to them and love on them and pour into them, they get fewer and far between as they get older, because they're busy. They're doing homework. They're at sports. They want to be with their friends. And so it's like, what are you doing to really facilitate that now? And just remembering that this season may be hard, but it's a season. And so live into it, press into it. And know your worth within it, because there's nothing greater than living into your calling as a spouse, and living into your calling as a mom, and living into your calling as a daughter, as a sister. Like, what are you doing to facilitate those relationships, and just really make sure that those people know that you love them, right? And secondarily, remember that you've got those relationships, like you have that spouse for a reason. Like, God gave you that person in your life. And so remember to be doing something that serves that person as well. Like, what are you doing to facilitate that relationship? And I look at, like, Kyle and I could probably be successful in a lot of different things separately. We're blessed that we get to do it together. But at the end of the day, when I'm starting something new, or I'm like, I have this new idea and I really want to do it, and I like, having his support is what's most important to me. Like, having him on board, knowing that this might take a little bit of extra time to build or to do, which means that we may need to figure out or juggle different schedules while it's happening, that's important. Like, I want his support, because at the end of the day, you could be super successful, but if you look to your left and you look to your right and there's no one there, then what do you really have, right? At the end of the day, I want to look to my left and look to my right and see my kids and see my husband and see our family and have that support, because those relationships with them, and even my community of women, like, that are super important to me, is making sure that no matter what's going in my life, what am I doing to pour into them? What am I doing to encourage them? But ladies, you get back what you put out. So what are you putting out? I hope it's a lot, because I promise it's so worth it. It may seem like a lot of work or a lot of things to remember, but to follow up with people, but I promise you, like, it's so worth it, because you're going to build that community and you're going to build those friendships, and you're going to, like, just really bring that bond between you and your family together. And at the end of the day, that's what's most important.
That was so beautifully said. You have tears coming to my eyes, and just thinking all about that, and thinking about my son now, Caleb, who's 1, and then my 10-year-olds, and how important that time is, and being present and focused. And you made me think. I stopped breastfeeding about a month ago, and I'm like, I wanted to stop and I didn't want to stop, and it just had me going, oh, I miss that.
Yeah.
I love that. So beautifully said. So you talked about your free downloadable earlier. How long is that available? Where can we find it, and where can we find you?
You guys, that printable is available for as long as you want to download it. So there's multiple ways you can find it. You can go to my blog, diaryofanaddict.co. There will be a pop-up that will pop up after you are on the main page for a couple of seconds. If you put your name and email address in there and hit submit, a welcome letter will come to you. And in the welcome letter, check your spam and all that kind of stuff, because it's new, you're just signing up for it. But there will be a link in there where you can click that link and be able to download the printable to your computer, so then you can print it. It's a 7-day at a glance, and so every week you can just print out a new one. And then there's a cover page that explains, like, how to use each section. Another way you can grab it is you can follow me on Instagram. It's at Alissa, ALISSAM Circle, like the shape. And if you go to the link in my bio, there's a spot where you can sign up for the Simplified Gratitude printable and print it, download it, use it. And if you do use it and you do love it, I want to ask a huge favor and ask if you guys will share it with your friends, snap a picture of it, share it online, and I promise I'll repost it. I'm really excited for this. It's the first time I've ever launched anything free, like a printable. So it's created by me, because it's what I do. And so I hope you will find value in it as well. But yeah, so you can find me on the blog. You can find me on Instagram. You could probably just, like, do a Google search and find all the different places. I write for a couple of magazines, and
we'll get you all linked up in the show notes too. I'm super excited to get my printable. My husband's printing it out for me and bringing it home. So I cannot wait to start using it, having that structure in the morning and that start. So thank you so much for being here and sharing your heart with my listeners. And I have just really enjoyed this time with you, and I've got so much, and I'm excited for us just to continue to watch each other and support each other grow. And I hope that somebody, heard something that they needed to today from you. And if you did, definitely, shoot Alissa a message, shoot me a message, and let me know what you took away from today's episode. And I'm going to link all our information in the show notes. You guys, thank you so much again for being here and supporting the Just As We Are podcast. I just appreciate and I love each and every one of you.